Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our ninth installment of Coffee with Concepts. Today's topic is creating subject lines and previews to increase consumer engagement. So, a couple of the topics that I feel are pertinent to review today, we're going to be reviewing your template information and then adding clear and concise subject lines based on the template information that you have entered. Um, how We'll touch on how critical it is to avoid spam trigger words, especially in the subject and preview lines for your emails. Um, Using proper capitalization, definitely avoiding all caps in an email subject line, as those can trigger spam filters. Subject line tone and how it relates to email content tone, and changing subject lines based on content. If at any point you have a question, I do encourage you to email customer success at Concepts2Code. If you do email customer success at Concepts2Code, we have an article coming out with all of the suggestions and tips that we will be going over today. So I would be able to send that to you. So everything that we're discussing will be written down for you as well. Okay, so as always, I'm using our demo site, Buffalo Credit Solutions. As you can see, the knowledge base and help is always available on all of your portals on the front page. That's where that article will be included for email subject line creation best practices. So we will have that available for you as soon as the webinar is finished. So when you're creating an email subject line, the main goal that you have every single time you send an email is to generate engagement with your customers. Um, you have your content for your emails. You know what you want to say, similar to how you send a physical letter campaign. You know what you want to say to a customer. You know what you want the intended result to be. But your call to action, as they call it, for your email subject, how do I get them to open this email? How do I get the engagement that I'm looking for? And that's generated usually from the email subject line. So my first step is going to be, I'm going to look at my email templates that are available. So down here, I have strategic email templates. I have subjects in them, but for the purposes of today's webinar, we're going to create email subject lines together. So the template that I have is a strategic email 2, and it's payment options. So inside the body of this template is I'm offering the balance to the customer in 12 payments. So I want the customer to log in today and get their balance resolved in 12 payments. I want them to also know inside the template that if the payment options we're offering are not working within your budget, let us know. This is what I like to call a bit of more empathetic approach when it comes to an email template. So this is an understanding template, an empathetic approach, we're here to help. So I want the email subject line and the preview line to match what I'm saying within the template. If you have a template that is more urgent, let's say you have created a template notifying your customers that your accounts are going to recall. This is the template you generally would have a large amount of urgency attached to. But we don't want to use an urgent tone with a template that's more friendly. We would want to use a friendlier tone with to match the template, because you want the content that's inside the email to match the subject. You don't want to mislead or alarm the customer. So for this purpose of payment options, we want to be clear and specific. So we want to indicate the nature of the email, again, without alarming or misleading the consumer. So for this template, I would say I would not use important account update or your account requires attention, because this is not usually an initial contact. An initial contact template would be, let's say, your model validation template. So if that's the first contact that you're sending, and I label my emails, strategic email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, this is a demo site. This is just how I do it. My initial template is going to be I'm addressing the consumer with their first name or their full name, excuse me, and then information about your account. Keep it concise for your email subjects. Aim to keep them short and not a lengthy subject line. A short, direct line, like information about your account or a notice regarding your account balance, it gets to the point without overwhelming the consumer. And if you think about it, majority of consumers are opening their email on a cell phone. If they're looking at their cell phone and the email subject is so long that it goes off the side of the screen, they're not going to be more apt to open it because they're going to think and they're going to feel like that looks like spam. I'm just going to skip over that, or I'm going to filter that myself into my spam folder. So when you're creating an email subject line, use keywords. Use words related to the account status, payment, or billing that clearly reflect the email's content. This one says information about your account. Account balance notice, or if you're sending out a payment reminder letter, send out payment reminder for, and then the customer's full name. We want to, for sure, avoid spam trigger words. Refrain from using words like urgent, final notice, immediate action required, and refrain from using excessive punctuation. These are very common triggers for spam filters and also could seem aggressive. Instead, use language that suggests a statement reminder instead of urgent or immediate action required. If at any time you have a question about what could potentially be a spam trigger word, and I'll take you to the knowledge base and help now, we have an article on email best practices that already is housed in our knowledge base. Inside the email best practices article at the bottom are links to common spam trigger words. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that just using one word could trigger a spam filter, but if you do combine them, for instance, like final notice or urgent immediate action required, 9 times out of 10, that usually will trigger a spam filter. If you were to open up your own cell phone and then look through the spam triggers or spam filtered emails that you have, just look at the email subjects on those. More than likely, they have these trigger words in there. I think it's important also to personalize your email. So your email subject, excuse me. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to use the customer's first name. So we have replacement fields for the first name being formatted and the full name being formatted. So I'm going to use the actual first name, which loaded into my template, but I'm going to paste it up into here. So now I have the consumer's first name in the email template, which personalizes a little bit more than a regular just a general email subject. Now the consumer will, look at this email and say, well, this email is for me. My name is on it. So they obviously have familiarity with who I am. So this is a template about payment options. So I want to create something that lets the consumer know payment options are available for their account. So I'm going to be straightforward and I'm going to tell them payment options are available for and I'm going to actually come back down here and I'm going to grab the original credited formatted account. I'm going to put that in there. And that's what I'm going to put into my email subject. But one of the things that I notice about the email subject that I have here is how long it is. Now, even though the replacement fields don't necessarily indicate if the consumer's first name is Joe, that would only be 3 characters, but it still looks like this is pretty long. The general consensus, if you do email testing, and test your subject lines is between 6 and 8 words. So if this was 1 word, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 9 words. But if your original creditor name is considerably long, it's going to lengthen the subject line. And again, if you're looking at it on a mobile phone, it could go off the side of the phone where the consumer has to scroll over. So how would we approach something like this if we want to keep it short and sweet? Depending, and everything is depending on what your compliance department says or your general counsel. Please consult them if they have specifics or if there are client requirements for what has to be included. But for the sake of this webinar, I'm going to take out the original creditor formatted account and I'm going to keep a little bit of mystery. And I'm going to say, John, payment options are available for your account. Now, this is how the email subject will appear. When it comes to a preview statement, and I'm just going to save my work. When it comes to a preview statement, when the consumer receives this email, and I will come down here and I will preview this exactly how it would appear. The first thing that they are going to see on the preview line, and this is common with Outlook and Google as well, if you have Gmail, is this logo would appear as an image. So the consumer not only will see the email subject, but they'll see the preview underneath, and it would be the URL for the image that we have inside the template. So the URL for that image would look like this. So that's actually what the consumer will see as a preview. So my suggestion and what seems to be beneficial for consumers is to have an idea of what's inside the content of the email itself as a preview statement. So how would we generate a preview statement? Well, just like the email subject line, we want to, again, maintain a professional tone. So a subject line should remain professional, polite, non-threatening. We want to have a preview statement that generates that interest, just like that email subject generates that interest as well. So we're letting them know that payment options are available for your account. What would you want to include in a preview statement to get them to open the email itself? Do you want to put your resolved balance in 12 payments and have that right there in the preview statement? That can be done as well. There are some agencies that will put that direct information out there so the consumer knows, payment options are available, resolve your balance in 12 payments, or maybe you don't want to be that direct. You don't want to put an amount. You don't want to put 12 payments. You could put something similar to a payment plan is available for your review. And then we would come down here and we would save that. So now the consumer would see payment options are available for your account and a payment plan is available for your review. Would that sound redundant? I don't know. The best thing you could do is to then take this email template and preview exactly how it would look by sending a copy of the email to yourself. If you send a copy of an email to yourself, you're seeing exactly what the customer will see when they open up their email. Do you like the wording for the email subject? Do you like the wording for the email preview? If you are stuck between two different options, my suggestion is to do A/B testing with two different email subjects or two different email previews. And what that means is, so I have strategic email 2 with payment options right now. So I'm going to come to campaigns, I'm going to come down to templates, and I am going to make a copy of this template, and I am going to make this payment options B. And I'm going to change the way that this looks a little bit. So I have payment options are available for your account. I'm going to change that to payment options are available for review. This one says a payment plan is available for your review, but I want to see how this performs with consumers by putting this directly here. And then I'm going to come down and save this. So now what I've done is I've created template A, which I'm going to come down here to here, and I'm going to rename this template A. And I have template B right here. So each one has a different subject and a different preview line. So in order for me to see which one is going to resonate better with customers, I would take 100 accounts for a campaign for template A and 100 accounts for a campaign with template B. And then I would send them out and see how each one performs. Does one template perform better as far as open rates? Does one template perform better as far as click rates? You may need to run A/B testing probably 3 or 4 times on different um, accounts just to see how they perform with your customers. But A/B testing gives you an opportunity to get data that will give you the answers that you're looking for on how these email subjects will perform. As always, when you're creating an email subject, follow compliance guidelines, avoid language that may be, deceptive or harassing. Again, like immediate action required or urgent. Um, Personalize when possible. You may want to take the consumer's name off of it completely and just put payment options are available for your review. You could even add the original creditor's name back to the email subject and then leave your preview statement as resolve your balance in 12 payments. You may want to put the first name formatted replacement field right here. And then the consumer would see that as the preview statement, John, resolve your balance in 12 payments. It depends on, again, what your client requirements are and exactly how personal you want the delivery to be, whether it be in the subject or in the preview statement at the top. So I encourage you to use your preview statement. Otherwise, the consumer's initial preview is seeing the URL for if you have a logo at the top. Or if you put your logo below it, they would see the toll-free number if you had that verbiage listed above your logo. Test your templates. Send it to yourself. Load it on a cell phone. Load it on a tablet. Load it on your laptop. Load it on a desktop. See exactly how it opens with multiple different email service providers. If, for instance, you have an Outlook account, send it to yourself in Outlook. If you know you have a personal Gmail account, send it to yourself in Gmail. If you have a Yahoo, as many email service providers as you can send to that you have your own accounts through. I encourage you to do that. The best way to see exactly how, the customer is going to see it is to send it to yourself. Again, avoid writing all capitals in a subject line. It can come off as aggressive. It can also come off as spammy, and it may trigger spam filters, reducing the chances of an email being delivered straight to the inbox. When a spam filter is triggered, it will automatically route that email to the spam folder, bypassing the inbox. That is something you don't want because that could affect your email reputation and affect your deliverability and engagement. Make sure the capitalization matches the tone of the email. For a formal or professional tone, or even a helpful tone, stick with proper title casing or sentence case. So for instance, we have every word capitalized here. I encourage you to use the formatting. These formatting replacement fields because it will capitalize the first letter of the customer's name. So this is just a general payment options template email subject. So I assume you have multiple email templates available to you. So the next one that we have up is a settlement campaign. So that is going to be a very unique situation because most agencies have multiple settlement campaigns that they're sending out. And the tone of your settlement campaign may be a little bit more aggressive or urgent than a payment options, depending on where you are in your internal strategy. Have you sent your model validation? Is the next step settlement? That would be something at the agency level that you would decide. For all intents and purposes, this is strategic email number 4. So this is one that we want to have a little bit more of an aggressive or urgent tone for. So again, for settlements, use keywords that are related to settlements: offer, settlement, resolution, um, or balance. So if I wanted to create an email subject, and for instance, I'm going to leave the consumer's name out of it, I am going to let them know that there is a special settlement offer. Reduce your balance today. So this email subject is short, sweet, to the point, and gives them a indication that we want this done today. So it may not seem like it, but to a consumer when they're reading it, oh, they want me to reduce my balance today. Similar to how if you have an internal strategy for talk offs, you would repeat the balance 3 or 4 times during the first 2 minutes of the call to try and get the consumer to acknowledge and understand that their balance info is due. Avoid spam triggers here. Terms like urgent, final offer, act now. That is something that can trigger a spam filter very frequently. Act now is usually a phrase that is used on a lot of spam emails that come from marketing campaigns. For the preview, so I put my email subject: special settlement offer, reduce your balance today. How am I going to generate interest with a preview? Well, I want to let the consumer know that there are flexible settlement options for your account. So that's exactly what I am going to say here is flexible settlement options for your account. So I'm going to paste that in. Now that's a little bit big. Personally, for aesthetic purposes, I like to put that in an 8 size font so that it's small at the top and doesn't overwhelm the template itself. Because again, the customer is going to open that and see your wording at the top. So I like to make that nice and small. Flexible settlement options, you could say available for your account, or you can keep it nice and short, as is this nice and short. And then inside is the content of what I want to offer the consumer and how to get them to pay as quickly as possible. If you are, again, struggling with, I like this email subject versus that email subject, I encourage you to create multiple templates and A/B test with those as well. You may personalize if you want to. We could add the customer's full name in here if we wanted to. We have the formatted replacement field, so I could add, John Smith, flexible settlement options available for your account, or flexible settlement options for your account. Settlement offers should be framed in a helpful and cooperative tone. This is a more empathetic template. So maybe special settlement offer, reduce your balance today, is something that I'm not sure I want to include. I don't know. So I am going to save this as template A, and then I am going to create another template down here, and I'm going to create template B because maybe I'm deciding that I want to change that to explore settlement options for your balance. Maybe that will be something that generates a little bit more interest. It's short, sweet, and to the point. So now again, I'm going to do A/B testing on the 2 different templates. Do I like this template better? Do I like that template better? If you have emailed a customer multiple times with no previous contact, or you've never spoken to that customer, avoid false claims in an email subject that you have had previous interactions or conversations if there hasn't been one. So avoid phrases like "we spoke the other day" or "following up on our discussion," as they can be deceptive and could lead to complaints from a customer if they've never spoken to you. Be honest. If this is the first contact or outreach attempt, be upfront in the subject line. Settlement offer for your account, options to resolve your account balance. Instead of referencing a previous interaction that didn't exist, use a welcoming tone to introduce the purpose of your email. Let's discuss your settlement options, or we're here to help you resolve your account. If you've sent emails or letters, it is acceptable and it is sometimes encouraged to say second notice, settlement opportunity for your account, or maybe third notice, explore settlement options for your balance. Um, as long as the claim that you're saying of first notice or second notice is accurate to how many times you've reached out to the consumer, you're letting them know we've attempted to contact you in the past. This is your second notice. If it's the first communication, you may want to use verbiage such as introducing settlement options for your account to set the stage for future interactions if you're going to send, or if your strategy is to send multiple settlement offers to a consumer. If, for instance, the consumer is in a recall state and you're going to lose the account, the client is pulling the account out, straightforward and to the point. John, your account with such and such is set to recall from our office. This is a definitive action that is going to take place. The call to action is your account is leaving our office. You may choose to take out the consumer's name. You may choose to leave it as your account with original creditor is set to recall from our office. You may want to put the date in the email subject to let the consumer know this is leaving our office on this date. Or you may want to, again, put it in the preview statement for that specific template. Your account will leave by this date. And of course, the replacement fields, you can do date plus however many days, or you can manually enter it into the template itself. But this is a template that you would want to use more urgency for. As you can see, this is a recall template that lets the consumer know it will recall by the end of this month and has a little bit more of an urgency to it to try and generate consumer interest. So your subject line would want to match your content. Your preview line would also want to match your content as well. And, there's more urgency attached to it. Email subject line creation is best when you're testing on yourself first to see if you like the way it looks in your own inbox. You can come either to your all email campaigns with metrics if you want to see exactly how they appear. If I wanted to notice or look at how this would appear in my inbox, it's about your account. Maybe you need a little bit more information so the consumer will open that email, so the consumer will have interest that's generated. A/B testing is a great way with small dedicated groups of consumers. If you don't want to use 100 for each template, use a total of 100 and break it into 50 and 50 to see how each template performs with your consumers' data. As always, if you have questions, please email customersuccess@concepts2code.com. Template creation and email subject line creation can always be a point of contention for any agency. It can be overwhelming. We're here to help if you need any advice or if you're looking for guidelines on what the best way to create an email subject is, or if you're just new to the digital strategy in general and you're kind of lost with template creation or email subject line creation to match the content of what you want to say. So we will publish the article that includes everything we talked about for creating subject lines and previews to increase consumer engagement. As always, I hope you have a great week and a great day, and that your coffee is abundant. And until next time, have a good day.